for this contracted energy to uncontract, is discrimination required?
Not at all. No, nothing is required. Nothing at all is required because actually it isn't contracted. It only appears to be contracted. So the contraction, individuality, self-awareness is an appearance which can come and go, apparently come and go. So there isn't anything required for it to not be there because it actually isn't really there. So the whole idea of liberation or the me falling away is a complete illusion. Of course the me doesn't fall away because there is no me to fall away. There only appears to be, or it feels as though there is. And even the contraction that brings about the feeling of there being a me is also only an appearance. It's not real. There's nothing that is real.
Yet the me seems to create or not create anything. It does seem to have some effect.
Yeah, it appears to, it doesn't, but the contracted sense of the me is a product of the brain, of course, because the brain, it is the brain that fabricates the idea of there being an individual.
Yeah.
The individual, the me, is a product of the brain in order to defend itself from the world that it lives in. And so all of that is an energy that seems to arise, it appears to be real, but the difficulty is that the apparent me thinks, don't forget this, the apparent me feels it's real and feels it actually has an effect in the world. Actually it doesn't, it's simply an appearance. So there isn't anyone that does anything. Mozart didn't write the 21st Piano Concerto because there is no Mozart. The 21st Piano Concerto is energy in that form going through the body energy of that person, that particular it's the energy of that body.
Yeah.
And therefore it takes on that apparent character. Because don't forget, before birth, in the DNA, there is a formation in the psychosomatic sense of the body that is a natural product. It doesn't need a me. There doesn't need a me for there to be a character in that body. And that's why a certain through that body energy can create that sort of music or that sort of or that sort of reaction in what is apparently the world. The difficulty is that people think that there is somebody really called Mozart who really wrote a piano concerto, or there's somebody really called Hitler who started a war, and it was Hitler that started the war. There is no Hitler, there's no Mozart, there's no Tony Parsons, there is only what is. The characterisation of it, or the naming of it, is simply another way for the me to go on reinforcing the sense I am real. It's the I am real dream that's maintained through identity.
It's crazy really, because although this sounds so obvious, it feels as if there is something inside that is carrying on scrambling. Although it can't, scrambling, although it can't.
It's constantly reinforcing a sense of me.
It's as if something is fighting,
Well, it has to reinforce a sense of me, because actually, basically, it knows it's not true.
Yeah.
So it goes on trying to prove its identity. That's what you see in the world. What you see in the world is me trying to prove again and again its identity and its effect in the world. Whereas actually, in the apparent world, what seems to happen is simply energy.
It's crazy because it feels like a sandpit with a hole at the bottom, and the thing is still running on the side, and I wish it would just let go. Just fall in it, and that, but it's carrying on.
You were talking about Mozart.
Mozart.
A manifestation of energy that produced this beautiful music. Would Hitler be a manifestation of something that was something evil?
Well, no, I didn't say that.
Okay.
I'm not at all evil.
Okay.
There isn't anything. There is no such thing as evil and good, except in the dream. There's only what seems to happen.
Right. And both of those, you again to go back to this word you used, beloved.
They are. That is the beloved in form.
What we see as
Yeah.
evil and good. And again, I come back to this. I'm puzzled by this use of the word beloved
Yeah.
to cover both of those, because we see those as very different, and I don't really get how.
Well, yeah,
beloved-
but because I'm saying to you, I understand how the me works in a polarized or dualistic sense. I obviously understand that, because we're talking about that most of the time, and I can understand as far as the individual is concerned, it would see something as good and another thing as evil. But I will go on. This will go on using the word beloved to cover both, because there is no such thing as good and evil. They are simply an appearance in the dream.
Could you choose?
There's only what happens.
Could you choose another word that was more neutral?
Yes, marmalade. All there is marmalade. But it's not a negative or positive marmalade, it's just marmalade. So whatever seems to happen out of the apparent person is simply marmalade appearing. It's marmalade appearing.
Marmalade I can
Oh, right.
understand. Beloved, it was.
That's all right. There's a lot of people. No, a lot of people have difficulty with beloved. Some people just see it as a word. That's all it actually is. Other people have a connotation about it being divine. It's not a. This is not a spiritual message. It has no connection with spirituality, divine, the heavenly, and the hell. It has no connection with polarities. What it does do is illuminate them as being appearances. And therefore it will use the word beloved, oneness, beingness, any of those words. Obviously for you it would be better if I used the word beingness, but I probably won't. I'll probably be all being, because I'm cussed.
Tony, you've used the term unconditional love many.
Yeah.
So
Unconditional.
it's not unconditional marmalade.
No, there is unconditional marmalade. Unconditional love is all there is, and that's the beloved. But that does embrace everything that the individual would see as good and bad.
The absolute doesn't have the beloved to me is kind of romantic. It's kind of a romantic label, isn't it? The absolute kind of isn't.
You prefer that?
Yes, thank you. But it's just a bit more neutral. A bit more neutral.
Yeah, and it's more sort of manly in a way. But when you use the word absolute, then people then preclude the relative.
Yeah.
But the absolute is the relative. They aren't. There isn't a relative and an absolute. The relative and absolute are one thing. They are both the beloved.
Okay, you can have the beloved.
What's interesting for me is this relationship between good and evil that we learn. So that's good.
In
that's
the story,
that's, conditioning. But then the relationship to sensory stimulation, where if we put my feet into some boiling hot water, you can also be taught that that's bad for you.
Well, not only would you be taught, but the brain would immediately react to that.
But if there's a nothingness that's happening,
well, yeah. Well, it's only apparently happening.
But
in that apparently
this
happening,
pain threshold.
the brain is also apparently functioning.
But this pain threshold that we are taught,
Oh no, hold on. I don't think we are just taught the brain threshold. A tiny child, if you put an iron on its finger, will scream its head off. And it's not taught that, it's just the brain reacting to that pain.
Emotionally then? That's more taught, right?
Well, emotionally there would be an emotional response to that pain, even in a tiny child. But it wouldn't be a taught one.
Yeah, okay, that's if they're burned, but we're taught like emotionally a response to the situation that we experience.
Yeah, we certainly grow up and learn responses as well. Yeah. But they're not all that happen.
Yes.
But that's a learnt, self-learnt. Those sort of things are self-learnt as we grow up. And of course we are also taught to recognise good and evil. So we develop what's called a conscience, whether it's a religious one or not. There are a lot of people who would say they don't belong to any religion, but they have a recognition of good and evil. It's conditioned.
It's kind of still marmalade if you are compassionate, if compassion happens.
No, compassion for me is not something that you are. It just is.
But someone could still move towards, even though there's no world, and you don't have to make it better. If people are aware of something bad happening and they want to do something about it, that would be a natural movement towards it.
Well, then you're still in the dream that there's something bad happening. There can be something that's happening which doesn't require a me to respond to it. That's true. There can be a natural response to help somebody who seems to be in trouble.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't need a me for that to happen.
It'd be organic, it wouldn't be mind-led and, yeah.
Tony, what is that thing that there's nothing happening? That's the bit I really struggle with.
Well, don't. Because until there is no one, you'll always think something's happening. It's just that there is actually nothing happening. I'm sorry about that. There's nothing happening, but for the individual that doesn't make sense. If you're sitting there breathing, then as far as you're concerned, something's definitely happening. And there's no one breathing, it's apparently happening. It's not definitely happening.
So it's in the sense it's not real.
Well, and in the sense that in the end there's nothing that's real. And then there's a recognition that actually there's nothing happening at all. But what seems to be happening is only an appearance. It's not real.
Because happening is like a stepping stone in a way. If it's happening, then something else will then happen.
Will follow, in the dream of me. Look, don't try and forget it. When you die, give me a ring. Because people do. They do say, it's amazing. I've heard you say that nothing's happening. I thought, what the hell? Look, I'm doing that and that. But there isn't anything happening. And I can't even tell my wife that. I can't even tell you what that's like. But now I recognise what you were saying. There's nothing happening.
But is that because for something to happen there has to be somebody there to see it happen?
No, not at all. No, it's because there's nothing happening.
As if you have to delete every definition, every word of every action that happens.
Yeah.
You have to kind of delete the thought process behind it.
What you believe.
Just let it happen or be.
Well, you can't do that, but that's quite true. It's a complete undressing of the whole idea you have about you and your life and what's happening, what appears to be happening in it. It's a complete collapse. It's death. It's the end. This is the end. It's not an end because there's nothing that ever began. It's the end of the idea that something began. Me lives in what will be. It can't possibly be what is.
Could you say that nothing's happening because there is nothing? So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All
There is no
nothing.
things. There is
No.
no things.
No, there's no thing.
So no thing.